This episode of the What's Happening Delco podcast is brought to you by Delco Meets for Business. Check us out on Meetup, register, and attend one of our fantastic networking meetings, which we meet on the first and third Thursday at the Brick House in Ridley Park, and the second and fourth Thursday at the Upper Crust in Newtown Square. We look forward to seeing you there. What's happening, Delco? I'm Rich Shane, and welcome to the What's Happening Delco podcast. Today, I'm joined by Barry Harris of Barry Harris Music. Barry, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Rich. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Barry, what is Barry Harris Music?
Yes, so I am a singer, songwriter, pianist. I'm from Delco. I was born and raised in Glenolden. I went to Interborough High School. My very first public appearance was at the McDade Mall playing For Elise on the piano. I was only 6 years old, and my amazing life, this journey in music, started right here in Delco. And when I graduated from high school, I moved out to Los Angeles to pursue my dreams of working in music. And I went to the University of Southern California for music performance and popular music. And I met a lot of my friends that I know to this day. We formed a band when I was out there in Los Angeles. And so I spent a good number of years out in Los Angeles. And a few years ago, I moved back here to Delco, where I live now, but I still commute a lot out to Los Angeles and Nashville to do gigs and sessions. And what I do as a pianist is that I like to take the music that I love, which is that great piano music that came out of the 1970s. That's what really inspired me. And I try to take that tradition and bring it into the music today. So I have my own original music that I produce and publish. And I have my band, like I mentioned. I produce our concert tours, and we've played a lot in Los Angeles, but as of last year, we've begun to play in Delco right here. So we now have, I've actually given the band their first Delco experience last year, which was such a joy. And so that's kind of who I am. That's the summary of who I am.
Now, you came on our radar, and I'm sure if they have not heard it yet, there are going to be people now that are going to run out to try to find it. You've written a song about Delco.
Yes, I have. I will say, Rich, of all the songs that I've written, this was the most difficult one to write. It actually took the longest of any song that I've ever been involved with. My co-writer, Brett Frompson, who is a producer in Nashville, he and I co-wrote the song together, and it took about 2 years to put it together because I really wanted this to be my best work, because when I'm out in other markets that are not Delco, everybody wants to know, who are you? Where are you from? And no better way to answer that question than write a song about Delco. It's called Delco, where I call it Delco Done Right to distinguish it from other Delco related media. And so the song is called Delco Done Right. And when I wrote this song and started performing it, I've got a lot of great reaction out in Los Angeles from people who heard the song, and they now want to come to Delco. They want to know what Delco is all about. And we actually last year we premiered it last year when we played. I was very excited to do that, and I'm also excited to say that we have a music video that we filmed when my band was in Delco last year. We spent an extra day in Delco, and we did a music video shoot, and that is now live on the internet. So if anybody who's listening goes to barryharrismusic.com/Delco, they can go see the music video. And we filmed that in my father's auto detailing garage in Norwood. So we kept the Delco ties, very authentic for the video.
As you were sitting down to write a song about Delco, your experiences, your perspectives, and you said it took you 2 years. What was that like to write a song for 2 years? Was it you get an idea, you write a little note, you get another idea, oh wait, this doesn't rhyme or this doesn't fit here, or I don't know if that's really what I want to say about Delco. You're an artist. Talk about the process to write a song like this.
Rich, it's actually all of the above. Everything you mentioned, it's really pouring over every single word. And I'm very fortunate that my co-writer, Brett, is a real great wordsmith. And he was able to listen to my life story and turn it around into lyrics that would work. I actually came into him and said, we're going to write a song and it's going to say, Are you Delco done right, or are you Delco done wrong? Obviously, that's alliteration there. A lot of D's. We call that. So in writing, we always attach to either rhymes or alliteration are good, powerful devices. And I told him what I want this story to be about. I told my co-writer this, that to describe the Delco that I know, it's people working hard, people working, getting up at the crack of dawn, going to work and doing it with pride. And so I asked him, can we try to capture this? And so with that, we set out on a mission to write that song. And we've did many different verses, many different ideas. And then finally, after a while, it finally started to settle. And the last little piece that we put into place is Brett, my co-writer, said to me, can you describe how do you get to Delco? And the third verse of our song, the way that it goes, it says, you take the blue route down to I-95, moves you closer to home every mile you drive. I gave him that, and then he came up with the line, every 6'10" citizen is ride or die. You ain't Delco done wrong, you Delco done right. And that's kind of how we come up with the song. And so it was great to actually have a collaborator that was excited about this, just as excited about this idea as I was. And so writing it, and what I want to get out of it, of the people who are listening to it, to feel pride in Delco. And they can say when they listen to the song that they are Delco done right. And I can say, people ask me, am I Delco done wrong or am I Delco done right? And I always say, well, if you've listened to the song, you're definitely Delco done right. Come on, it's no contest.
What has been some of the feedback that you've received from the song, either from fellow Delconians, people that know you, people that don't know you, or people, like you said, out in Los Angeles that now you can better help them understand from your perspective what Delco done right is?
Yeah, actually, I got some really wonderful feedback from the Delco duo. If you know them, Jenna and Monica on PHL 17. I had sent them a letter. I thought, they might like to know that there's a Delco song out there. And to my absolute surprise, they put it on air. They played the song, and then they talked about it. And they said that they wanted to have some of the lyrics inscribed on their tombstone. Now, that's quite an incredible compliment. So I'm really humbled and pleased to hear that the people of Delco have received this so well. And as for people in Los Angeles, again, I think a lot of them, I say half of them don't have knowledge of Delco. About a quarter of them do because of me. And then the other quarter happen to know the mayor of Easttown. So I'd like to tell people, to make it simpler, I'm from Easttown, although that's a fictional town in Delco. But if you've seen that, you've actually gotten a good taste of what Delco is like, because you heard Kate Winslet's accent, and you see all of the authenticity with the pizza boxes and cups that they are sourcing from local restaurants that they use in the production, in the actual program. So because of that, I'm able to anchor onto that, onto people's familiarity of that program, and ask them, do you know somebody from Delco? And when they say no, I tell them, well, you know me. And so this song has actually gotten more hits in Los Angeles than it has in Delco. And so for this beginning part of the year here in 2025, I'm actually going to be here in Delco for a little while, for the next couple of weeks and next couple of months. And so I'm going to be going around and sharing this song with everybody, because I want everybody here in Delco to hear this song. And like I said, I want everybody to feel a good sense of pride when they hear the song.
Where can people find out where you're going to be performing, where you're going to be, so they can hear it live and get a taste of you in person?
Yeah. So what I would share is that if you go to barryharrismusic.com, that is my website. You can sign up for my mailing list, and I'll tell you when I'm going to be coming close to you. And you also can follow me on social media, Barry Harris Music, at Barry Harris Music, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and whatever else pops up, I'll probably be there too. I always go wherever the people are, and I always post there on my latest comings and goings around the Delco area. And I'm actually going, I should say, I mentioned earlier that I have my band that we've basically been playing we've been playing shows out in Los Angeles, and we've now started to bring them here into Delco. And we have a 90-minute show. It's a full band show full of my favorite original songs, plus songs that people know. We have these medleys, these super gonzo medleys that I've been putting together, where we just hit you with a bunch of songs that you know, one right after the other. And we've gotten some great audience responses from that. So there'll be more of that this year in Delco. So I'll definitely tell everybody to stay tuned for that. And also, I am developing right now my own solo show so that I can come into much more intimate spaces and bring this experience of representing my favorite original songs as well as songs that people know. And the one thing I will share as a fun teaser about this new show I'm working on is I'm working on interactivity, where you can actually request songs, be part of the show, and I will incorporate what songs the audience wants to hear into the show. I've got a list of about 200 songs that I'm rehearsing right now, and I'm almost through all of them, figuring out what I'm going to do if someone calls that song up. And I'm having a lot of fun with that. And you can bet that I will be doing that here in Delco. So everybody gets this opportunity where I get to know the audience, whereas the full band show is about getting to know me. This solo show is about me getting to know other people. So anybody out there listening, I truly believe I will be seeing you sometime very soon, and we'll have a chance to meet you and get to know what kind of music you like. And perhaps there'll be something I can put up in my solo show that you will really enjoy hearing.
To give them proper credit, what's the name of that band that you tour with?
Yeah, so we're called Barry Harris and his LA Band. Very self-explanatory. So if I'm ever around Delco and you see Barry Harris and his LA Band and anybody asks, what is that? I just say, it's my band from LA. Simple as that. It's very, yeah, as I said, it's very self-explanatory.
You know, you see Jason Kelsey, he's developing so much into different things. He's looking to do that late night show or that show he's become involved in. I think this Barry Harris band would be the perfect, accompaniment to his show.
Oh, that's wonderful of you to say, because I did watch his show, and I love that he is putting such a positive spotlight on our community. And so it would certainly be my pleasure to be associated with anything like that, really.
Yeah, you're like his Wynton Marsalis, I would say.
Yes. Oh, that's a good reference to the Tonight Show band. That's right.
You talked about the 70s, the piano styles and things like that. Who inspires you? Who motivates you?
Yeah. So there's quite a few musical artists that have really turned my musical motor on. Credit really to Bruce Springsteen, Billy Joel, but the very first artist that really got me started was Barry Manilow. He was my first concert, and when I was 4 years old and I got to see Barry Manilow live, who again I only knew his CDs, I only knew what it sounded like, and when I sat there and the curtain opens up and a guy walks out, my mind was blown, and I feel like maybe I understand what it was like for that generation that saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan and had their mind blown. That's what happened to me. And I realized that the power of playing, the power of composing is all in my hands. He made it look very easy, to his credit, although I now know that that's very hard to do. What he does is extremely difficult. But what it felt very accessible. And so that got me going. And I've definitely followed, his example as an inspiration, as well as the other artists I mentioned, Elton John as well. The Beach Boys are huge for me, and I've done the deep dives into their discography, and that is the way I've found myself relating to the world and relating to other people, is that I usually can find an artist in common that we know and have a conversation, and I can share little bits of information that I happen to know about that artist. And that's actually what I'm incorporating into my solo show. So that way I can take what I'm really great at in life and make a show out of it. And so I'm going to incorporate some of the trivia and facts and information into the show. So that's kind of what it is for me. And I've heard a lot of people, I don't know if you've heard this, Rich, if you've talked to people about music, but I've heard people say, some variation of, I don't understand music today. It's not for me. And I do wanted to give those kinds of people a message that the good news is that the music you love is still here today. What's changed between yesterday and today is that today you have to do the work to go find the music you love. It will no longer just come to you. And that's why I have even better news. I'm here right now bringing it directly to you.
You talked about embracing the piano at a very young age.
Yeah.
And music for you was something that you took to almost immediately, or was it something that you had to experiment a little bit with and go through some failures or some setbacks? You know, we talk about child prodigies, right?
Yeah.
Where did you fit into that spectrum of how you took on a musical instrument? Musical instruments to me are those things that, unless you adopt that mindset that you're not going to be a Barry Manilow, an Elton John, a Bruce Springsteen. Now, there are people that have that mindset, that ear. But for your first experiences, if you can recall, what was that like to begin to learn the piano?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think I gravitated towards it really easily. I felt like it was a language that I knew how to speak before I even learned how to speak it. And I think you're right. There is a lot of trials and tribulations. And what I learned in the experience of growing up and playing music, well, first I would say the piano is what came naturally. It was the singing part that was a little bit slow to take off for me because I was a little bit shy. I was a little bit afraid of being that vulnerable. The piano was definitely a comfort aid for me on stage and still is a little bit to this day, which is why when I do my show now, I challenge myself to stand up from the piano and move around and walk around. And that has really added a new dynamic to my performing. But back to, growing up, when I was playing, I think what I really was working hard on was trying to find my unique voice, because it's easy to take an artist and try to emulate them. And I think to some degree, I was successful in doing that. But to take the next step and become an original artist, that was really the struggle. That was what I worked at. And I think after all these years, the answer I finally got for myself was that it really came down to the lyrics, the singing, because even though I might be using the same, musical bags of tricks of other artists, I'm representing my own unique perspective, my own Delco perspective, because Bruce Springsteen's a great artist. He's from New Jersey, but he's there representing the New Jersey perspective. Bruce Springsteen is not specifically writing the Delco experience in his lyrics. And that's what I offer as my unique take. So wherever I go in this world, whether it's here in Delco or Los Angeles or any other city, I'm always going to be Barry from Delco. So that is the biggest thing that I learned, when I was growing up, that I'm just Barry from Delco. I am and forever will be.
What's your perspective on AI in the music industry?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think we are finding out right this minute. If there's anybody who says that they know the answer, I would be a little bit skeptical, because we're all trying to figure this out. I'm personally representing my experience. I'm trying to figure it out as well. And there might be some good opportunities that come out of this for musicians like me. There could be some significant tools that aid in creative development of ideas. That would be very nice to have some tools that will help me write. But I think what people have concerns about is replacement. Will this replace the need for really skilled musicians? And I truly believe the answer is no. I think that everything's going to find the right niche. Everybody's going to find their place. And I hope in my platform that I continue to employ music makers and creative people no matter what. And if I do end up incorporating AI into my writing or my tools, which as of this date, I have not yet really gone there. But if I do, I would want it to only be a supplement for what I do, an extension of what I do, and not a replacement for the work that I do or that any one person does. Because one thing I will say about AI and music is that I think the first place we're going to see a lot of challenges is when AI starts creating music, it opens up a lot of questions. Who's going to be compensated for that? If it's trained to listen to certain songs, how are those creators going to be compensated? And is that going to reduce the amount of work for people who do work such as film scoring? And I hope the answer is no. And I think we collectively as an artistic community will put a spotlight on how important it is to both champion those innovations that are going to make art more accessible for people. That's a big thing, but also at the same time, really prioritizing, real live human musical experiences. Because, I was at the Walt Disney Concert Hall last year seeing Shostakovich played. It's one of the most beautifully acoustically tuned venues in the entire world. And I was right front and center. And it was such a profound experience for me. And I think keeping that in my heart and in my mind, I know that AI is not going to overtake that in the next 5 or 10 years. We'll see about 50 or 100 years from now, but not anytime soon. So I think so. A lot of the jobs are safe, but I think, just a lot of sensibility is going to be needed. And again, a lot of leaning in and listening. And we're going to just have to see how this plays out, frankly.
I believe, and since the beginning of time, we as humans want to be entertained. We need that. And the human connection of entertainment, as you talked about your experiences very early on with the performers that impacted you, I don't necessarily think that that's a replacement. The AI experience is going to be a replacement for that human experience. Yes, maybe as a tool, it can help write songs or help to work with the music and fine tune things. But we'll see. Who knows? I'll be around 50 years from now. That's my plan. So you'll be there. We'll see, maybe we have one of these robots up there, jamming out, and you don't even know whether it's real or not. You just see it and it's performing and you go to see that favorite robot.
That's right. Yeah, that might be what we see in the future. And I think, as I said, I hope that it's a good thing. And I think that is my big mantra is really that change is good. Change can be and should be good. And I think this one's going to be a good change. And I think we could have it both ways. We could embrace the change, but also not throw away all the traditions that we care about. And also I'm also very passionate about making sure the next generation that comes after me gets the same opportunities that I did. So if anybody wants to, make a living at their music, I hope that door will continue to be open. And I will personally do everything that I can do to keep that door open for the people that come after me.
You're out and about in Delco and you have a cheesesteak craving. Where are you going for cheesesteaks?
Coco's. My band and I, we went to Coco's after we shot the music video for Delco, and had some of the musicians told me this was the best cheesesteak they ever had.
How about that pizza craving? Where are you going for pizza in Delco?
Gotta be Coco's again. Yeah, they got it all. And I that's why I told my band, I'm taking you here. Trust me, you'll find something on the menu you like. And of course, I'm bringing California people, and I'm sure you can imagine people have got their diets and everything that they do out there, and it still worked for them. Everybody found something on the menu that they liked. So big thumbs up to Coco's for being such a great hospitality opportunity for me when I bring my musicians over here.
If you need a sponsor for any of your shows, I'm sure Coco's would be very happy to do so.
Oh, yeah.
What do you like on your pizza? What are your toppings?
I'm a plain guy. I'm just cheese. And I know that sounds so unadventurous, but for me, I always believe that if the pizza can sell itself without fancy toppings, then it's a good pizza in my book. Because if it's great, if it needs the toppings to be great, I don't know. But Coco's is great, just plain cheese. And so any other toppings you want on it, I'm sure will make it even better.
Wawa or Royal Farms for your convenience store needs?
Oh, Wawa, of course.
Through your music, you've been able to tell a story about Delco, your own experience. Outside of music, how do you describe Delco to somebody that's never heard of Delco, who's never been here before?
I think it's the place where you'll find the most authentic people, because I've met many people in Delco. I know many people in Delco, and I cannot think of one phony I have ever met in Delco. Not to say that Hollywood is full of phonies, but you get a couple of them here and there. So when I'm looking at Delco, I realize that these people are the most real people you will ever meet. They will call it as they see it, whether you like it or not. But that is how people are, and that's why I feel that I would not be who I am if I was not from Delco. If I was from anywhere else, I don't think I would be living the great life that I do today, because everybody here, I think, has kept me humble and honest. And I've done shows, especially at the beginning, where I've had people come up and say, "Yeah, that wasn't very good." They'll just tell you. They won't just keep it to themselves and snicker. They're going to say, "Yeah, I didn't like it." So I always know that when I'm writing and when I'm trying to perform, if I do it here in Delco and it works, I know I can take that, I can put that in the bag and say, yeah, this is a good show. If the people of Delco like it, then everybody else around the world is going to like it too. So I know I could always go to Delco for honest opinions, honest feedback. And so that's the way I would describe Delco. The people here are real.
Do you have a music teacher or somebody that impacted you very early on that helped you achieve the next levels to where you become today?
Oh, there's countless. I'll give you a quick local connection. Sal Dupree is a vocal coach who's based out of Atlantic City. He's still working, and he's a great friend of mine. He really helped me find my voice, especially when I started out. Like I mentioned to you, I really, that was the one thing that took a lot of work for me to figure out, was my voice, and especially for males, as their voice changes, then you got to rediscover your voice all over again. And he was there for that. So I give him a lot of credit. I also, when I got to USC, I studied music with actually a few people on the list. Jason Robert Brown's a playwright. I got to take a class with him for a semester that really changed my songwriting. It impacted how I do that. Patrice Rushen, who is my mentor. She was chair of the program at USC, a great artist. She was the first female music director of the Grammy Awards. So she's been in all sorts of circles, had all sorts of experience, and she shared with me that shaped my ability. Lamont Dozier, who is a Motown songwriting legend, he really amazing songwriter, and he actually wrote all these songs: Sugar Pie, Honey Bunch, I Can't Help Myself, Stop in the Name of Love, How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You, Reach Out, I'll Be There, Baby, Where'd Our Love Go? He wrote all of those, and that's actually a medley I do in my show, and I pay tribute to him. And the great Melissa Manchester, who's a singer-songwriter from the 1970s and 80s, who is right now, she's actually touring in Funny Girl. She's playing Mrs. Bryce, and she was my songwriting professor at USC, and she taught me so much of what I know and just how to be a performer. And one more I did forget about, Rick Dakarsky's a pianist in Atlantic City. He's a great mentor that taught me about how to go beyond piano and how to use synthesizers and program my own instruments and do my own productions. And last but not least, some people listening to this might remember this name. His name was Russell Faith. He was a great composer from the 1950s. And he became a vocal coach, and he worked with Andrea McCardle, got her onto Broadway, and worked with her during that time. And I was very fortunate to learn from him. And I think he's one of the very first people that turned on my motor for really feeling like I could do anything, not just be a pianist, but be a composer, be a vocalist. He's the one who opened that door for me. I'm forever grateful to him. He's since passed away, but I know his legacy lives on in all the people he's taught.
I think we've helped you put together your acceptance speech for your Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. And
yes,
that is really special that those people have made a difference in your life. And now you take what you've learned from them and you can impact others. You have friends or family coming in from out of town and you want to give them or take them to that Delco experience. Where are you sending them, or where are you taking them, Barry?
Probably Ridley Creek State Park is a really hidden gem that we all know about it, but I shouldn't say it's a hidden gem. But also Swarthmore College, all of the Arboretum area. Those are some beautiful pieces or slices of nature that I recommend everybody take time to see. And in fact, Ridley Creek State Park. I've definitely taken my band members there. We've walked the multi-use trail, and they love the experience. So that's my Delco spot.
Barry, is there anything we haven't talked about today on the podcast? Anything you want listeners to know more about you or Barry Harris music?
Well, we covered so much, and I'm so grateful for this time and this opportunity to share. And I think what I would just like to conclude with is to say to people that if you ever feel that music is not for you today, I'm here. Like I said, I'm here to tell you that the music you love is out there, but you do have to do the work for it. And if you'd like me to, I'll do the work for you and bring it to you. So wherever you are in Delco, I'm sure I will see you in the future. And if I do get a chance to see you, please tell me what song you want to hear and tell me what you think of the shows, because I'm always listening to feedback. I'm always asking people to tell me what they think of the shows. So when I do get a chance to meet you, if I have not met you yet, I want you to tell me what you think of the shows, because I want to incorporate that feedback so I know that when I come in next time that I've got a show loaded full of songs that you are going to want to hear. And I'll also share this with you and everybody listening. My email address is info@barryharrismusic.com. If you just want to say hello, or if you'd like to request a show, my solo show, to come out to your business or your private event, please feel free to reach out to me. I would be happy to check my calendar and see if I'm available, and we can go from there. But really, I just want to say thank you to all of you. For those of you that are listening, that are the people that helped me. You have no idea how grateful I am for you making me who I am, and I will continue to have this gratitude in my heart for as long as I'm privileged and blessed to share my musical world with you. So I thank you all for giving me that opportunity. Rich, thank you for this. This has been such an excellent experience. This has really been special.
Thank you, Barry. I'm grateful for our time together. Grateful that you're a friend of What's Happening Delco. You are definitely Delco done right. And we can't wait to see you out and about performing, taking requests from the audience. And, maybe we'll throw in some stumpers there. Who knows? But it'll be fun to see your take on some of those musical opportunities.
Absolutely, Rich. This has been great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Barry. Hey, it's Rich. Thank you so much for being a listener to the What's Happening Delco podcast. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to learn more about the people and businesses in our community. I have been a real estate agent for over 25 years, working with first-time home buyers to last-time home sellers. As a listener of the podcast, my gift to you is a complimentary 1-year American Home Shield home warranty. This is for buyers and sellers that I help. If you're looking to move anywhere in the United States, I have you covered with an amazing network of real estate agents. I look forward to hearing from you. My direct line is 215-313-3777, or you can email me at rshaneremax@comcast.net. Oh, by the way, I am never too busy for any of your referrals.